Hi guys, I wanted to talk about the current state of affairs right now because there are some very, very common themes that just keep happening, and I think that pointing that out can maybe help alleviate this crazy shit happening right now, right? Um, Really, what we're seeing right now is the perpetuation of division, and through division also the perpetuation of violence, especially right now what's going on with all the political based violence. It's crazy, right? um Charlie Kirk, the new ICE shootings is basically a new mass shooting every day, if not every day, going on. You have crazy things like in Germany, a big like a right leaning party that's kind of pushing against the status quo. They've had 16 of their top members just disappear within a few months, right? Just die, all mysteriously. There's some really strange things going on, and it's connected. Like this globalist agenda or whatever, it doesn't work if people are working together, right? We have to be divided in order to be conquered. You see it with the immigration policies and everything that's happening, and Trump pointed that out earlier too, about the UN paying for illegal immigrants to come over the U.S. border and giving them money, and the things that during the Biden administration that they did. But I don't think that the people that are representing the right in the top tiers of politics, whatever they say, I don't think that they're actually against what's happening. I think what they're doing, their actions they're taking are on purpose to create more division, to sow more division. I mean, immigration is and has been dividing the U.S. and Europe, and a lot of violence has been breaking out over it. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy in Europe too. It's not just the U.S. Like the whole sect of Western civilization is just free falling right now, and that's economically as well, politically, economically. Everything's going to shit, right? The political violence with Kirk, the ICE shootings, stuff that happened in Boulder, Colorado, the assassination attempts on Trump. Like, there's so much of this, and we're being lied to about all of it. The new stuff about Kirk actually getting shot, well, it would appear on his right side, going through the left side of his neck. He was shot from behind, apparently, now. And then a bunch of other stuff, like the edited videos. It didn't show the guy that they claimed was the shooter. It like there posted up and then shooting, running off. It just showed him running off. All the weird stuff about the weapons, the weird text messages. Something's going on there. And it's obvious it was meant to sow division. It's obvious. Just open your eyes. It's so obvious. The thing is crazy. And then at the same time all this is happening, you have the government and media and legacy media officials that are pushing, oh, it was left wing, oh, it was right wing. And they're just all these mouthpieces. Again, like, they do not want us to come together on common grounds for anything. They need us at each other's throats. They need us at each other's throats for whatever the hell is coming next. Because they want to sow chaos, and then whatever big event is going to happen, whatever it is, I don't know what it's going to be. Some kind of false flag most likely is going to happen. Some really big one soon. Then they're going to use our disconnect and our distrust and hate from everybody to lock us down even more, right? And it's nuts. What is happening is it's absolutely crazy, and you can see all this political division, and it's like we have to come to common grounds about some stuff and leave like the other issues, which aren't small, they're big issues. But we have to put some of that aside, right? And I said this the other day. The new stuff about 9/11 coming out, that should be something that everybody should agree upon. Like, okay, we need to get to the bottom of this, the corruption of this. It doesn't matter who it was that did it. We need to know, as a society, who did it, with politics aside, right? The shit about the vaccines happening right now, all the new stuff coming out. Why are the companies protected from any kind of backlash, any kind of legal or civil consequences for their product? Why are vaccines the only product that the manufacturer isn't held responsible for if it starts hurting or maiming or killing people? Right? That's a huge one. That should not be, there should be no politics in that at all. We need to find out the answers and get to the bottom of it, right? No politics. Set that shit aside. Real investigations. It said 9/11. I said the vaccines. The other big one is the disclosure. Disclosure is so big right now. We know it's true, right? All the facts are there. With it comes the disclosure of these highly advanced technologies that will completely change the economic and power structure across the world. And we could literally end poverty within the next 5 or 10 years if we can get all this equipment out. Mosquito, sorry. And then think about the other big one in just a second. But again, everything is about, in the legacy media and then like the controlled opposition, you hear it's all about divide and conquers, and then getting all this violence and all this chaos happening, getting us completely disorganized and distrusting one another. And then they're going to swoop in and just take everything and try to make everybody their slaves or just murder people off, right? Media and the government pushing left-right-wing division, left-wing, right-wing division, instead of pointing out like the root issues, right? Big thing, like they are lying. The government and media are lying about so much, covering up all the shit in Europe happening, like all the countries that are in absolute chaos right now. All of the UK, every nation in the United Kingdoms, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, I think Poland, Hungary, like things are just going to shit. Of course, Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. And now Trump is back again, backing that fucking maniac Zelensky. Like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? You know, in the war with one phone call and did it in 24 hours. Get the fuck out of here. The Epstein, that's the fourth big issue. That's an international global affair as well. And it connects a lot of dots. A lot of the major scandals and conspiracies of our lifetimes are connected through that Epstein web, right? It's those criminal factions that we can lead all this stuff back to, and we can start pulling the web down. The names, the companies, the entities, they're all there. We can't trust the FBI. We can't trust the CIA. We can't trust the NSA. Everything they do is being weaponized against us. Everything. If you can't see that, then like you're just being willfully ignorant, guys. It's so important. You have to see past that, you know. And there's a lot of people that voted for Trump because he promised he'd get to the bottom of the Epstein files and he'd end wars and stuff like that. But now he's trying to find a way to maneuver us to take over Venezuela. All the oil and gold there, but all that again would be obsolete with real full disclosure. 0 point energy does exist. The cold fusion that they came out with the 70s and then murdered professor and top-notch scientist Eugene Maloff over when he pointed out the scientific fraud that were coming from people at the top of MIT and Harvard. He pointed it out. I was like, no, this was real. These guys are falsifying it because it would have just completely changed the power structure and the economic superiority of the energy companies, which are all owned by the biggest banks, or vice versa. Biggest energy companies own the biggest banks, or vice versa. It's all intermingled now, as you can see with things like Vanguard and BlackRock and State Street and all these other companies. It's crazy, right? No one knows what to believe anymore. No one, like, it's so hard to figure out what the truth is. And it's being made like that on purpose. This is being done on purpose with every issue. They want us at each other's throat. That's like my proposal. Like, stick to like really big issues that everybody can put personal politics aside for, and agree that there needs to be serious, big time, non-partisan investigations into, again, the 9/11 stuff. It's huge, you know? It led to well over a million people in Iraq alone being murdered over bullshit. There were no weapons of mass destruction, and all the pilots were from Saudi Arabia. The vast majority of that people, I mean, there's Israeli, U.S., Saudi Arabia, fingerprints all over that shit, right? All over it. 9/11, Epstein, the vaccines, and fourth one I mentioned again. Forgetting them right now off the top of my head because there's so much going on. It's just hard to keep up with. You know, both parties are sowing division and instigating violence, pointing fingers at one another to try to keep that rift getting bigger, that division getting bigger. And we need to recognize that and say, screw them both. They're both disgusting. They're both disgusting. You know, just push them out. Just get them out, dude. We shouldn't even have any political parties anymore, I don't think, dude. It should be people based on what they believe, their beliefs, and what they can actually do for us. Getting off point. Anyways, both parties are sowing division and instigating violence, and it's not just in America. That's happening however each legal system and each political system works in Europe. It's happening all over there too. France has dissolved 5 governments in under 3 years, right? The German political leaders on their right-leaning party that's gaining a lot of popularity for pushing against the status quo, not wanting the war, going against the chaos that's being created by the immigration that is created by their wars, by Western and Israeli wars. That is what's causing all the mass immigration up front in the first place, is the shit that we're doing to them. You know, you need to recognize that. All the political opponents of the status quo in general are being attacked. You know, Kirk is just one example. It's just one example, as terrible as all that was. Even though on most things I did not agree or like Kirk that much. You know, because he was a staunch supporter of Israel. Fuck Israel. You know, and all the bullshit that they're pushing, man. Saying, like, oh, this is our land from 2,000 years ago. Okay, then why don't your genetics trace back there? But the people you're murdering, their genetics do. Their genetics trace all the way back there. Shit's crazy. All this is all happening at the same time. At the same time, every Western society, our economies are in a fucking nosedive right now, right? And you have all these people talking like like they believe in democracy in our democratic republic and the forms of democracy in Europe, but they're acting like fascists. They're acting like fascists. Everything they're doing is concentrating their power and their control over people, pushing us down into a slave system, and they don't even want real human beings anymore. You know, they want us to be half like cyborgs, like half computer controlled by programs and slaves. I mean, that's what I'm seeing coming out of all this, all the madness with how they're pushing the AI and everything, which I don't think AI, I think it's amoral, so to speak. It just like guns, like it's who uses it, why, and how. That's what either causes issues or helps society out. It's not the object or the thing itself. It's who is in control of it and what they are using it for, right? So while our economies are just fucking collapsing in free fall, all the countries are being torn apart, all the division happening between all the people in the world. While all of the BRICS nations and Eastern societies are on the rise because we're at each other's throat. We can't even manufacture any of our own shit anymore, and then we're trying to go to war with them over shit that we set up, like Ukraine, for example. That was Victoria Nuland and the Obama administration that pulled that coup that put the predecessors to Zelensky and the neo-Nazis in power there. That is what it is. That is what it is, right? It's nuts. While there are major culture clashes, right? No one trusts anyone anymore. And still, no matter what, every political side that's in power right now, whether they're left-leaning, right-leaning, central, they're still all pushing for the same shit. They're still all pushing for war, right? And now we have the new shit coming in Venezuela. That Trump's... They want Venezuela. They want those resources. It's not about humanitarian shit. It's not about narco-terrorism. If it's about a narco-terrorism, they would be fucking up Colombia and Mexico and Ecuador right now. Not Venezuela. They're like the smallest of Latin American, not size-wise, but when it comes to like real narco-trafficking, like they're one of the small ones in comparison, right? It's bullshit. And the stance that Trump changing, now he's all for Zelensky and going against Russia. You know, maybe they're all on the same side. Like they are pushing the world to be divided. And the scary part is now they're it seems like they want to put us under a regime like the Chinese communist regime. Complete control and power over the people. Anyone that says anything that they don't like, they can just they can delete. No problem. Gone. Bye. And that is what is happening right now. Then trying to scare the shit out of people with this 3-eye Atlas thing, whatever it's going to be. I really think in November, whenever it's supposed to show up, or late October, whenever, I think they're going to try to do something with that. I think they're going to try some kind of false flag. I mean, it might be it. This might be the thing when, like, oh, we have, which Wernher von Braun talked about, and Dr. Stephen Greer has been talking about, you know, Cold War is over. Then it's going to be the war on terror, and their final card is, oh, we have to unite as a world and sacrifice in blood and treasure for interplanetary war or whatever. I think it was Lord Mountbatten that said that. One of the big royalty lords. But I mean, all these guys, like, all these things, if they are even people, they are connected in that way. They are sowing division, destroying the economy to cause desperation, instigating and pushing war, and causing the issues of migration and illegal immigration and migration that are just causing chaos to erupt. And then they're pushing, like, oh no, there was a leftist that shot Kirk, or it was a right-wing extremist, or the new ICE thing today, oh, it was a leftist, or they were obviously right-wing white supremacist MAGA people. Like, fuck, who cares about that shit anymore? Fuck them all, dude. They are all evil. They're all crazy. They don't care. They don't care about us. Like, everything they're doing is putting them into more power and control and decreasing the population. But it's like they want a new type of high-tech serfdom and slaves. That's what it looks like to me, with everything they're pushing. And they want all of Western civilization to collapse. I really believe that. I really, especially the United States, they do not want anybody to come together and to come to agreements on things that we can't agree upon and that we focus on. Let all the other matters go for now. Right? Let fucking things like abortion, things like the immigration policies and the Biden era and all the fucking chaos it's caused now. Let that stuff go and come together to focus on the big things that we can all agree upon need to be figured out, need to be and factually stated, right? Again, and I think the number one thing should be disclosure, because of what that will lead to in the future. And it's not just the advanced technology, the energy and propulsion systems and stuff. It is about our consciousness and our spirituality and the abilities that are innate in all human beings and all conscious entities with an intelligent level, like with a high intelligence level, right? Disclosure, the facts about the vaccine, and getting all the shit out of the bodies and minimizing the damage from that. The stuff about 9/11, the stuff about Epstein, right? It's like I said, again, Epstein connects a lot of shit. 9/11, Epstein, Iran-Contra, the Franklin scandal, a lot of the Promise software, Tower Financial, and the other big Ponzi scheme. Like, all those are tied together. All those are tied together by that same network. Now, that is the cabal, right? I mean, look, you have big names like the head of Barclays, Jess Daly, the head of J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon. You have the Deutsche Bank, you have the New York Federal Reserve. All those are connected to the Epstein, right? Circle, to that Epstein network. Henry Kissinger's was involved in it. May he burn in hell. Obviously Bill Gates, right? And then you have all that, the whole transhumanism and all that shit. That's also all interconnected with this stuff. Obviously the Clintons, obviously the royal family, and the royal family. So Jimmy Savile, that's also connected to this, right? That was more towards Prince Charles, not so much Andrew that we know about. And it's probably why Princess Diana got murdered. It's probably why she got murdered. It was because she saw this terrible things happening. She was actually a real humanist. She wanted to be a queen or a princess for the people, not for the crown. That's a big no-no. That was a big no-no. But yeah, I mean, William Barr, he's also connected through all that stuff. Most likely grew up with Epstein. You have the Bronfman family out of Canada. You have Anne the Rothschild involved. You have God, the list is so big. You have Leon Black, huge billionaire. Les Wexner, obviously. Jean-Luc Brunel, who was who committed suicide, just like Epstein did. The big Hollywood actors and movie producers, but fuck those guys. They're pop culture, yeah, but they don't have like real political pull and real financial pull. All these massive banks and corporations are all intertangled in all of this, and all these huge political figures. You all the ex-heads of state, right? You had Margaret Thatcher, Tony Blair, also involved in the Jimmy Savile thing. They're also involved in the Epstein network. That's another big connection, not just the royal family. You have big names like out of Saudi Arabia, who I can't think of off the top of my head right now. You have 3 ex-heads of state from Israel, Ehud Omer, Ehud Barak, and that cunt rabbi, I can't remember his name. Let's see. So much more. And like it's like you can see the cabal coming up. If you don't know who the Bronfmans are, by the way, they're the ones who, I believe it was Smirnoff originally, and now it's another, but they're a multi-billionaire company, and they were gangsters during Prohibition. All this stuff also, like, when you go back to the beginning of this circle, like, it goes back to the days of Prohibition with Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano, and them working with Hoover on the FBI. At the beginning of the FBI, Hoover was the master blackmailer, getting dirt on people and blackmailing people. And then Luciano and Meyer Lansky, they got the dirt on Hoover, sucking off Clyde Olson, or Clyde Olson sucking him off, whatever. Big no-no, the homosexuality thing back in the day. Because they had that blackmail over Hoover, they were pretty much untouchable. And there's a lot of stuff about Meyer Lansky that I saw with an interview about Jack Kruse, who's pointing out a lot of stuff. I mean, it goes into DARPA, a lot of stuff about DARPA and the CIA, the NSA, and all the technologies, like the screens, and why they use the blue light spectrum, and how they manipulate the light waves to fuck with our brain functions and destroy certain neural pathways. You know, everything sounds like it's some science fiction story, but there's so much evidence and historical paper trails that these brilliant researchers have followed, and all you have to do is check their work. You don't have to go and spend 2 years, 10 years, 20 years researching and doing all this stuff. You can just go and verify their stuff, and then see, like, oh shit, they're right or they're wrong. You know, does it form a line that you can follow, and that's plausible, right? Or even more than plausible, that's likely. A lot of it is, you know, most of it does. And again, I'll say this, the biggest 3 researchers for this kind of, or I'd say the biggest 2 right now, I think are Ryan Dawson and Whitney Webb. Though I'm starting to kind of lean off of what Ryan Dawson thinks that the plane did hit the Pentagon, or it was the 757 or whatever, because of the new guys that were on the ground out there that have like, they were there for like from the September 11th to the end of September for a shitload of hours. And they have like a specific background where he could determine if this stuff was a plane or not. Maybe it was a smaller plane. Maybe the missile claim is true. I don't know. And that's why I think, like, pushing towards, that should be something we can all agree upon. Pushing towards investigating that to the fullest and bringing it out, dude. Get these monsters out. You know, call out the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Rumsfelds on this, right? Going and all their connections, right? And that's just the right side of it, and that's just 9/11. But look at all the news media from that time. It didn't matter if it was left or right; they were all saying war, 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 war. It was the same thing. And then when somebody came out, Scott Ritter, for example, when he was a UN's weapons inspector and military intelligence for the fucking Marine Corps, no, Iraq does not have weapons of mass destruction. They honey trapped him, they shut him down, and they smeared shit all over his name. Right? Because he was telling the truth, and the result, over 1 million Iraqis dead, a demolished country, and then all the madness that went to Afghanistan. Then Biden pulls out in 2022 in a horrible fashion, leaves $80 billion of military hardware there. I wonder where that's going to end up. Look at all the shit happening in the Middle East right now. You're gonna tell me that all the weapons that we lost in 2022 aren't all up in the wars that's happening right now, instigated by Israel, right? It's nuts. Why did they bomb Iran? Why did they bomb Libya and Syria and Yemen and all these, like, for the other Arabic countries supporting their neighbors and brothers, getting sick of the tyrannical regime that Israel is, a regime created by terrorism, who the people who made deals with Hitler before World War II even started, and during World War II, the Zionists, right? Stern Gang, Irgun, Haganah, and Lehi. The Stern Gang is another name for one of those groups. There's 3 groups. Lehi, Irgun, Haganah, and whichever one of those was also called the Stern Gang. Like, they were terrorist groups. They, against the UK, against the United States. And it was the leaders of those groups who became the major political powers in Israel, became its first leaders. Like Ben-Gurion, their first prime minister. He was a fucking terrorist. Right? Also, all the terror groups, the Islamic terrorist groups, they were funded, trained, and created by U.S., Israeli, and UK forces, some other European forces, going back into the 70s at least, where the Mujahideen came from. Charlie Wilson's War is a great movie with Tom Hanks about that, getting, of course they don't cover this part about it, but they were trying to get the I believe it was the Stinger missiles over to the Afghanis so they could start shooting down the Russian helicopters, locking on and destroying the Russian helicopters. And the whole point of that was just to bankrupt Russia and collapse their economy, which they did, and that ended the Cold War. And right after the Cold Wars ended, they ripped the Berlin Wall down. Then what? The Department of Defense, the Pentagon, they meet up and say, we don't need to do less military spending. We need to do more, and we need to push for full spectrum dominance. Full spectrum dominance. Here comes 9/11, Patriot Act. Now we're all being spied on. We're all on this control grid, right? And it just keeps getting worse and worse every year. Then comes COVID. Oh my gosh, we have to lock everybody down from a disease that we fucking funded and created in a lab, and then we're going to inject you with this experimental fucking mRNA technology where all of the trials and information was hidden until it was court ordered out, and they showed horrendous things. They get full immunity, criminally and civilly. These companies got full immunity in their contracts to genocide the population and maim the population. Right? It's crazy. I don't even think H.G. Wells or Philip K. Dick could have written a story that's this crazy. I don't think they could have written a fiction that's this batshit crazy. But that's what's going on, guys, and we have to come to an agreement with certain things, right? Come to an agreement that certain things we need to know and investigate about. 9/11, all this new stuff happening right now. Do not let that go down. The vaccines, Epstein, 9/11 vaccines, Epstein, and the other one, sorry. Tired, been a long day, waiting for the internet people to get here so they can fix the internet and the other 2 houses. But find stuff that we can agree upon and push those investigations because they need to be known. Disclosure, 9/11, the vaccine, and Epstein. If you can't come to an agreement that those need to be highly investigated, non-partisan, in a non-partisan way to get to the bottom of it, then you're a fool. And you're a fucking asshole. Okay? The truth matters. Fuck the political divisions. Look at all the violence and chaos that's happening right now. Look at the crises that we're all facing economically, environmentally, politically, it is going to chaos. And we're coming to a big crescendo very soon. And something's coming. Something big is coming. And they want us divided when that time comes. They want us divided when whatever it is that they're going to pull next, this fucking cabal, whatever false flag, whatever they're going to do next, they need us divided in order to take everything over. And that's what they're going for, right? That's when they're going to start forcing in all the digital IDs and AI and then anybody that's not and all, like, connecting everybody in a world governance through that, the cashless society, all that stuff. That's when they're going to push it. When everybody's divided, there's complete chaos and there's complete desperation, and they need us divided in order to do that. That's when they take over the world. Whatever false flag it is, it's some kind of other bombings or that some attacks that, that was China or Russia or Iran that did it, now we're in a world war. If it's they use this 3i Atlas thing, and or some other, probably fucking Lockheed Martin or Raytheon or Airjet or some other major corporations, advanced technologies to trick people. Something is coming. And they need us divided completely when that happens. Because when that happens, that's when they can be like, all right, we're going to take all these steps. You're going to accept it. Here's a one world governance system. And it all has to be done through our technology, which is made to enslave you. That's what I see coming. Call me crazy if you want. But don't, like, I don't think anybody can logically come up with an argument against the things that we could unite with, that are huge and that affect us all. And like I said, those are disclosure, the information about 9/11 that they're finally pushing out, the stuff about the vaccine, the mRNA technology, and Epstein, right? Get those out. Like, we should all be able to agree that we need to get to the bottom of this and put politics aside. We should all be able to agree upon that. If not, like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Think about it.